Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse. Bigz, Grindberg, Schultzy, coming at ya. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Very
Good.
well.
That's good to hear. Schultzy, looks like you're in a new studio.
I am. It's a little echoey, but we'll get there.
Well, yeah, we'll get there. Put some egg cartons on the wall or something like that. Maybe
I'm gonna have to eat a lot of eggs.
yes, prop a mattress up behind you. That would be cool. Soundproof that bitch. Right?
Send me some those fancy foam panels in the mail.
Oh, that's a good idea. We should have an Amazon wish list for all of our viewer so that he can send us a thing. Like go to our Amazon wish list and like send kind of like OnlyFans.
Buy Schultzy foam pads.
Right. So what are we doing today, Mike?
What are we doing today? Well, we got some stock up, stock down. So we're going to talk about some players in our dynasty spectrum that are going to be going stock up, stock down. We got some news to go over, big injury, some development in the Davante Adams situation, and we got some news to talk about. Absolutely.
With the news.
All right, folks. Well, we have some big time news happening in the NFL right now. We'll get into some injuries in a couple seconds, but the biggest one to date right now, and that is the Rashee Rice injury. It depends on who you're looking at. If you're looking at a Chiefs fan, it's the Rashee Rice news. If you're looking at the Raiders fan, it's Davante Adams. If you're looking at Schultzy, well,
Evan Ingram practiced today.
We're looking at an 0-4 team looking to go 0-5 this week to build off of that momentum. So they are an injury squad. They're on the IR. We'll talk about his Jags a little bit later. But
there's nothing good to say right now.
Rashee Rice, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about his dynasty stock in my segment, stock up, stock down, but it looks like he's going on the IR. The swelling is too thick at this stage for them to get a proper MRI. I don't know. I think it's a torn ACL. What do you think, Bigz?
It looked pretty bad. I saw a diagram of like what they think the injury actually is, and it doesn't look good. It looks like it's going to require surgery, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to miss the rest of the year.
Yeah, and that's a tough blow for the Chiefs. There's a lot of holes to fill in that situation now. We'll talk about his overall dynasty value when we talk about the stock down segment, but who's coming in there now? I mean, do you think the Chiefs make a trade? I don't think that is a very plausible situation. I mean, not many teams, like we talked about on the Profiler show today, Bigz, not many teams are going to be willing to help out the Chiefs. So what is
right?
What's the situation? Like, are they strapped with what they have? Or are they going to have to go in with another rookie like they did last year? Rashee Rice emerged.
On our Thursday night player profiler show, we were asked who the most likely candidate to be traded to Kansas City was: Amari Cooper, Davante Adams, T. Higgins, or I forgot the fourth one. But none of them seemed likely except for
Tyreek.
T. Higgins. Tyreek was the other one. I don't know about Tyreek. He's what makes Miami go as long as they have a quarterback. Amari Cooper might be a candidate just because that organization is like human garbage. Davante's not going in the division. Mark Davis would not allow it, and I don't feel like since Cincinnati wants to see Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and I don't think they want to watch T. Higgins and Patrick Mahomes beat them. So it's a dynamic, fluid situation, and we'll see what happens. But at this point, I feel like it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the Travis Kelce show anyway, and Xavier Worthy might get a couple extra looks in a game. They win whoever they put out there. everybody, oh, they're so much better with Hollywood Brown. Nope, no Hollywood Brown. Oh, Rashee Rice is on the right. No Rashee Rice. Isaiah Pacheco. No Isaiah Pacheco. And guess who the fuck keeps winning? Andy
Patrick
Reid.
Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's more Patrick Mahomes as it is just the system itself. And the defense right now is playing very good football, and they're keeping their team in the game. The pressure up front from Chris Jones is, it's hard to stop that guy. With Max Crosby, you know how it is in Raiderville when he's healthy. It's hard to stop that guy, and just like in Kansas City, Chris
We won
Jones is the
without him. We
same.
don't need Max Crosby.
There you go. All right. Well, Devontae Adams, they're Bigz. A lot of stuff happening there in his defense. He had to work with Derek Carr, and that was the situation. He wanted to work with Derek Carr the whole time, and now he's gone, and things are a little bit more glim there. Where do you see Devontae Adams going if he goes anywhere?
Tennessee. Trade Davante for Treylon Burks, please. I need that to happen. And here's why. Tennessee sucks. I think it would be funny as hell to watch Will Levis be garbage with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams, and Tennessee continue to not beat anybody except for the Jaguars. And also, I want Treylon Burks on the Raiders because Treylon is your typical X receiver. He can line up on the outside and where Devontae lines up as the X. Keep Jacoby Myers in the slot. Keep Trey Tucker as the Y. You still have Brock Bowers, and maybe we can unlock something from Treylon that we haven't seen before, such as some targets and some catches and a competent quarterback like Aiden O'Connell that can actually get the ball to him and take advantage of his talent. I watched him at Arkansas for his entire college career. The dude torched Alabama. There's absolutely no reason why he's suffering the way that he's suffering. He just landed in the worst possible spot that he possibly could have landed, and it hurts my heart. Woo pig suey. So yeah, send Devontae to Tennessee, get a second back, and Treylon Burks, and call it a day.
There you
But
go.
the rumor is New York Jets. He wants to go play with Aaron Rodgers again. He also said that he is not he's not open to other trades. I think that's an allusion to New Orleans. I think he would be happy going to play for the Saints. So we got Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson with possibly some fantasy production interruption.
I saw a tweet today that said Devontae Adams is the first player in NFL history who wants to play for Nathaniel Hackett.
UC Davis legend Nathaniel Hackett, thank you.
There you have it. Let's get into some quick hitters in the injury front here. We got a big game here as far as the Giants go, because a couple guys may be sitting out here. Devin Singletary, Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors has been the story of this year as far as the wide receiver position goes. Currently ranked as wide receiver 1 or 2, depending on where you see your stats. What a emergence it's been. We weren't surprised about this situation headed into this season, but concussion headed into this weekend. Tough situation there. Overall, Malik Neighbors is a light out smash, but this weekend against a team that does well against a slot receiver, like you mentioned, Wan'Dale might not be a good play this week. Bigz. Schultzy, what's your outtake on this Malik Neighbors situation, the concussion, the overall offense in the Giants now without those two guys?
If we're looking out without Neighbors this week, I'm obviously all in on Wan'Dale. I mean, he's already had a few games where he's seen monster targets. Take away the one dude that can actually do anything, besides him. Big funnel to Wan'Dale.
But Biggs pointed out they're really, really stout against the slot receiver. So they're gonna put all their eggs in that basket. And in my opinion, without Singletary in the lineup, there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on him. Like it's gonna be hard for someone like Wandale, even though he is talented. Biggs, what's your take on that?
Well, I said this in our other show, and the thing is, there's context involved, and perhaps Seattle just hasn't played a team that is productive at the slot position. I mean, they played
Hmm.
Denver. Denver doesn't really have a passing game to speak of. They played Detroit. I don't see who's Detroit's slot receiver. That's not really a thing. So it might be a matter of that context. But that being said, 8.7 points per game Seattle allows to the slot, 16 to outside wide receivers. So if I'm looking at kind of a potential game script, um, it's got to be the outside guy, which would be Malik if he's able to play. Sterling Shepard, if Malik doesn't play, and then because Seattle's going to be able to like pin their ears back and rush Daniel Jones because there's no receivers out there except for Wandale. Tyrone Tracy, if Devin Singletary doesn't play, might get a bunch of dump off passes. So I don't see it as a big productive game for the Giants offense.
At all, really. Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Take
Let's
the
move.
over on Daniel Jones rushing yards. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Ah!
Yeah,
Yeah,
Take the over
exactly.
on Daniel Jones screaming for his life.
yeah, probably over on the fumble, whatever that is, too. Probably cause a fumble or two in that game as well. So, uh, let's hit up the game here. Okay, yeah, the Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be what is looking like a pretty big shootout here. Schultzy, as a Jags fan, let's get your uptake on that game and the overall look on Etienne, uh, Anthony Richardson. You think he plays? Looks like he's on track right now, and Jonathan Taylor. All that whole game. What's your outlook on it?
Dude, I don't even know anymore with this team. The only thing I got is the Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014, and that brings you through, uh, quite frankly, a bunch of shit years for Jaguars football, where they still somehow found a way to beat the Colts at home. So there's that. Hey, and they're wearing the best uniforms that have ever graced a football field with the teal throwbacks this weekend.
Oh, I
So
thought you were talking about the Colts with the um, all blue with the black.
just any Colts uniform, just so good, all of them. But yeah, um, I think the Jags passing offense is going to put up a decent day, solid matchup, but man, I don't know what to think about the Colts offense because the Jags defense has been bad. I like Alec Pierce a lot. Jags without Tyson Campbell, that's a big hurt. He's a really good corner, and without him, that just moving everybody else up a spot in the depth chart uh, impacts the entire wide receiver, or I mean corner room covering wide receivers. And without the one dude who's like actually really good, it's like a real problem right now for them. And so yeah, Alec Pierce on the outside is going to be a good one. And I think this has a shot to be a barn burner, even if Joe Flacco plays, because like I mentioned, Jags have just been really struggling with the pass. They've been running a ton of man under Ryan Nielsen, um, and without, like I said, no Tyson Campbell. They've also been without Darnell Savage in the slot, which I think he's going to come back this week. But regardless, two starters have missed a lot of time already, and they've still been running a lot of man, and they've just been getting absolutely wrecked. So Joe Flacco can stand back there and pick. If you give him time, he can still do that. Jags pass rush hasn't been getting home really well. And this could be a blow up game, really.
Boye's out, and
Yeah,
out. Heinz Allen is dinged
yeah.
up,
So
but
he's
he's
got a
probably going to
concussion. He
play.
might miss. Yeah, this could be a ton of points in this one.
Now, I hate to derail this conversation, but I'm gonna. And first of all, it's Darnell Savage. Also, I really want a
Oh,
Darnell
sorry.
Savage jersey because I want a jersey since he came into the league when he was in Green Bay. I want a jersey that says Savage on the back just because I think that's so cool. Also, when I was talking about the Giants, I think I said Sterling Shepard, and I might have meant Darius Slayton because
Slayton.
Yeah, I caught it.
last night
Sterling
Sterling
Shepard.
Shepard caught a touchdown pass for Tampa Bay.
I think 2 in a row.
So
That's 2 weeks in a row now, I think, for Sterling
yeah.
Shepard.
So I don't know what I'm talking about a lot of the time.
All
All
right.
right. Well, that
Well,
does it for this week's Dynasty Pulse.
no, but we do know what we're talking about when it comes to dynasty football, and
Yes, we do.
let's talk about some stock up, stock down segment,
Let's.
and let's get into our stock ups. Schultzy, let's let you lead the way. You haven't been around in a while,
Schultzy,
so we're gonna have you lead.
Stock up. It's me, baby. I got internet. My life is great. I'm on the grid. I'm gonna go Justin Fields here, man. So, I've been a while away for a few weeks here, but I talked about him on one of our shows at some point and saying like, hey, I think he's gonna start, and I don't think they're gonna pull him until he gives them reason to. Like if things are going well, like they're not going to pull him out of the game and put Russ in if they're winning and he's not completely playing like crap. That's the case. And actually, he's been getting better. Like weeks go on and he's looking better for them. People who bought in at the cheap price this offseason, you're either getting paid big time in a trade or rewarded with Justin Fields playing. So that was like a gamble a ton of people took. And you're being rewarded handsomely for taking that shot right now. So bravo on the Justin Fields drafters. Trade him, play him. Either way, you're in a great spot. I don't see even to hammer home what I already said. After the last few weeks, there's really no way they're going back now unless it all falls apart.
Yeah, it's going to take a big string of games for Russ to get in there, and he was in a tight game on the road this week, and it looked like he did what he could. He struggled earlier in the game, but looked like he found his rhythm in the latter half. Yeah, Bigz, you want to give us your stock up, brother?
I'd prefer not to.
All right.
No,
right,
I don't know what happened. I might have I filled it out on the show sheet and I lost it. I don't
hold on, I
don't know what happened.
Pull it up here. Stock up, Tyrone Tracy. Talk about Tyrone.
Yeah, that's who it was. Tyrone Tracy. Okay, so Devin Singletary is dealing with an injury right now. Tyrone Tracy is a converted wide receiver, and he can handle 3 down duties for the New York Giants. Duties. So I really like him. If he plays and he has a big breakout week, go ahead and make him a waiver wire target this weekend, and then maybe he does something and you got somebody going forward. He could certainly take the job away from Devin Singletary. And if he doesn't do that, but he still has a big game, just like Schultzy said, you could trade him. Package Tyrone Tracy and Justin Fields and see what you can get back for it.
Yeah, I like Tyrone Tracy. I mean, he was a guy that we were pretty keen on when guys like Ray Davis were going around, and we had some stocks of Tyrone Tracy, and I like that call. He could emerge there. The passing chops as a former wide receiver, super important there, and I like what I hear there, Bigz. Good call on Tyrone.
Who's your stock up?
My stock up is Sam Darnold, and it's an obvious one here, but a year ago, he was, floating around waiver wires. People were picking him up to back up Brock Purdy. There was some, hinderings of Sam Darnold being the starter in San Francisco heading into last season, but we know that all fizzled out. But there was some reason for that talk now when you think about it, because Sam Darnold is now 4-0 with the Vikes. He's looked really good, and I think he's really solidified himself a job, whether it's with the Vikings or with another team next year. He's a free agent, and if the Vikings make a big push here, like, they're crazy not to re-sign him long term. When you think about what he can do, he's made that offense very, very stable, even without TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison at times, and now they're starting to get healthy, and they're seeing what they can do. They beat a good Green Bay team who obviously came back in the latter half of that game last week, but they look really good, and I think Sam Darnold is here to stay, and he's solidified himself as a role as a starter in the league, whether it's with the Vikings or someone else next year.
Love it. Love that we called it.
Yes, it's great. All right, Schultzy, stock down.
Well, I was planning on talking about Kyle Pitts, but he's doing pretty good. Last night, I guess, but regardless, still stock down on Kyle Pitts. People, the hype was real again, and I don't blame them, I guess. I mean, you talk about the resume. We've heard the Kyle Pitts resume 85 times by now. Everybody knows about him. Everybody knows what he can do, what his rookie season was, the athletic traits, everything. It's finally going to come together, but it's not. And we got a goose egg last week. I'm starting to finally just be fully out on him. I don't think I'm ever going to trust him to be a top tier tight end. Like, when you're talking top tier tight ends, these are the dudes who are week in and week out getting 7-8 plus targets, catching most of them. They're moving the chains. They're going to score you double digit touchdowns. Like, I just don't ever see him being that guy. And aside from the 1,000 yards his rookie year, he hasn't shown enough flashes to even show us he can be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, Bigz said it on our last show there. Got to really see it for a couple game stretch before you can even consider starting him in your lineup at this stage, let alone, having invested stock in him in Dynasty or trying to buy him. I mean, where's his value right now? It's so crazy. I mean, it fluctuates. He's a top 10 tight end as far as value assets goes, but he's never really produced that other than his rookie year. So crazy.
I'll say this, and
break out.
You're mentioning that he's
Cousins.
Sorry, Bigz. You mentioned that he's like fluctuates a lot. Maybe after this game, you can catch a spike and catch someone, and be like, hey, look, he was pretty good. He's on the upswing, even though like the first catch of the game was a wide open play that he took 40 yards. Like, maybe you can catch someone after this game on a little bit of an uptick, but yeah, still down.
You have something to add to that, Bigz? You're about to pipe in there? No? Okay, cool. All right, who's your is it me or is it you for stock down?
I'll go. My stock down is Schultzy's mom. No, my stock down is a running back. He may have played against two of the toughest rush defenses in the last couple games, and he's got a bye week this week. But J.K. Dobbins, I feel, is his stock is so low right now. He put up 8 points against the Steelers and 9 against the Chiefs. That's after two 20-point performances to begin the year. Granted, he was playing the Raiders and Carolina, but 2.93 yards per carry against Pittsburgh and 2.29 yards per carry against Kansas City. I feel like teams have the Chargers figured out at this point, and they're not going to let J.K. Dobbins do anything. So his stock is down, and you know what that means? Go out and get him.
Get him. Get him.
Get him.
Go get him. That's a good call. My stock down is one that hurts because I bleed the colors here, and that's Rashee Rice. And we knew that his suspension was looming headed into this season potentially, but now it's going to be looming into next season. He has that injury now that many think that is season injury, so it's season ending. So I really think that his stock is coming down, considering people were ranking him as a top 10 wide receiver after his you know huge surge to the start to the season, and now I think it's a year and a half off before we see Rashee Rice back to where he has been, and that's unfortunate news. And it's his fantasy stock's taking a bit of a hit here now.
Yeah, and on top of that, did you see the video of his mom stealing a package from somebody's doorstep? That was gross. But don't be that person.
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's say he tore his ACL and then they slap a 6-game suspension on him. Is that the first 6 games still? Or is it first 6 games he's eligible? Because he would have to be on PUP, right?
Yeah,
That's
he would have to be
eligible, Schultzy, and I don't think this is the place to ask.
Sorry.
We have no idea.
I don't know. Well, maybe you did. Well, because if he's got the suspension looming, so let's say if he starts the season on PUP and that doesn't count, and then he gets 6 games after he comes back from PUP, well, then I really, really don't want him.
Right.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the way it is. If he's on IR or he's on PUP to start next year, I don't think that the suspension counts until he's eligible to play.
Okay, well, that was my question. So thanks for answering it.
Right, but I say that with zero confidence.
That's
the right answer.
Yeah. That's our educated guess. That's our very educated guess.
So I have a task for our viewer out there in fantasy land, dude. Google can suspended or can injured players count those games for their suspension? I don't know.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. You made me laugh there, Bigz. I'm still gaining my breath here. This is not the place to ask that question. I don't think I'd ever fathom us ever hearing that on our show, but there you have it. It you crossed the line, Schultzy, and it's almost like we should bump you from the screen now.
Come on. Should we just move on to our studs and duds?
Let's do it.
Probably.
Let's go.
I said start Naylor. He had 1 catch for 31 yards, and I said sit Flowers, and he had one catch for 10 yards. So I feel like that's my stud.
You really hedged your bets here with both guys catching 1 pass.
He studded and deaded. So that's the name of the segment. So I'm going to stud and I'm going to dud. So
I had a good week.
Yeah, well, no, I had a stud and I had a dud because I told everybody to sit Michael Pittman, and he had a pretty good game. I think he went 6 for over 100 yards, 6 for 118 or something like that, 6 for 113. Flacco entered the game, inflated his value there. But I had a good week with Jaden Reed because even with that injury potentially looming, I was really confident with what I saw in week 1 with him, with Jordan Love, and with Jordan Love back. Fuck yeah. Jaden Reed. I'm trying to get him everywhere. Honestly, people are on to him now, and I wish I would have just pulled that trigger last week before it happened, because fuck, that guy looks like the alpha there, and I don't think anybody's coming back down from that one now. He could be a top 12 wide receiver, and I don't think that is outside of the realm of questions right now. What do you guys think about that?
I like all of these veteran quarterbacks, like what Flacco did last year, Baker Mayfield, the big start that Derek Carr had, the touchdown that Jared Goff caught, Sam Darnold's resurgence. I'm loving these storylines because, especially in fantasy, where everybody is on the Anthony Richardson hype train, including myself. I will admit it. And it's just like there's nothing. There's Jaden Daniels, and that's it. But the old guys are doing it.
Yeah, they are. All right.
Love it.
Let's move on to our starts and sits of the week. Now, let's go.
Sure. Schultzy, who's your first start?
Josh Jacobs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you may know him as Josh Jacobs. I know him as Josh Jacobs, and he is playing the Rams. And the Rams here have given up the most rushing yards in the league so far, and they even made DeAndre Swift look pretty damn good last week, which is that's a big order. I mean, he's been pretty shitty this year, and to make him look good last week, I'm going to be attacking the Rams defense for running backs, and now we get a good one. So yeah, I'm all over Josh Jacobs. He's been solid this year, and he hasn't even scored a rushing touchdown yet. So those two games with Malik Willis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely got vultured, because Malik can run. I don't see that happening, continually with Jordan Love back, especially with Jordan Love on a knee that he's not, fully mobile on. Josh Jacobs is getting in the end zone this week. Go ahead and start him.
That's a good call.
Yeah. I mean, he's struggled to start this year, and yeah, I mean, he could be in a position here to really thrive. And yeah, good call on that. Biggs, who do you got?
Mike Evans. Go ahead and start Mike Evans. No,
Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. Yeah. Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard is my must start this week. I really like the matchup. We've got the Jets going up against Minnesota, and Minnesota allows 25.5 points per game to wideouts. They're gonna shut the New York Jets running game down. We saw last week the blueprint Denver did that, and I feel like Minnesota is super good, and they're gonna do that. But also Minnesota's probably gonna take Garrett Wilson out of the game. They're gonna neutralize him, and that's going to mean lots and lots of looks for Alan Lazard. It's also a London game, so anything can happen, and so I see 240 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns for Lazard.
I like it. I like it. The Lazard King is back, and I had a start on here that I pulled back on at the last minute here after seeing some last minute progression from the Malik Neighbors camp. Biggs opened my eyes to a really tough matchup against the slot, so I'm gonna renege on my Wandell Robinson start, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Tucker Kraft because I think he's a really good option here at the tight end this week. He was last week as a streamer, and he's a guy that I think is going to finish this year as a top 10 tight end, and he's going to emerge as that in a dynasty asset moving forward. I just really like his connection with Jordan Love. He's seen really good target shares in the games that they've been together, and especially in the latter half of last year when Musgrave was injured, he just created that connection, and I think it's ongoing now. And once the backup is now, I think, the starter, and I think he has now emerged there, and I think he's a smash play again this week. 6 to 8 targets, you can kind of be his floor at this point, and I think that connection is going to be strong. And at the tight end position, I'm liking that.
Are you sandbagging Malik Neighbors news? Do you have a new development?
I'm not sandbagging it, but I just think that he's not going to play with a concussion, and it's going to be hard for him to pass protocol.
It sounded like you thought he was going to play. Like you had new news, new information.
No, I just think that if Malik Neighbors was going to play, I think I like that matchup with Wandell a little bit better because I think it's going to take some of the pressure off of it. Wandell is a good complementary guy, but when he's the number one targeted guy, and he might see some double teams if they end up that part of the game plan, I'm not liking that. And especially after what you mentioned about them being very good, Seattle against a slot receiver, I'm all out of now. I think he's almost a sit for me rather than somebody that was maybe potentially starting.
Fair. Thanks for clarifying. Appreciate
you. All right, let's keep going. Is that are we done our stock downs, our stock ups, and our starts and sits? Are you gonna talk about our sits now?
Did I?
Sits, yes.
Sits, Schultzy.
For me, it's and it sucks, but it's Devon Achane. This dude's absolutely electric. Week 1 against the Jags, he was ripping them up, and it came at a time like in the first half, and then going into the third and stuff, where the Dolphins' offense was really struggling. All they did was feed this guy. They were obviously they're running with him, but giving him screens, quick passes, and the slot like slants and stuff. And I instantly that game, I was obviously watching some Jags fan, but I was like, damn. Devon Achane is the failsafe for this offense. When things get tough, Mike McDaniel just feeds this guy and says, "Go do work," and it works. And so I was so excited about like his prospects the rest of the season and his usage. Obviously, Tua goes down, and the offense is absolute crap. He was okay against the Bills 2 weeks ago with Skylar Thompson. I think Tyler Huntley's better than Skylar Thompson. I'll say that. Now, he only had 2 weeks to prepare.
Low bar.
Right, low bar. But he only had 2 weeks with the Dolphins before that. So, I'm not surprised he looked like that much shit. However, I just don't want any part of this offense moving forward without Tua. And it just sucks for Achane, man, because he's so explosive, and it was a second-round pick. And even if Tua comes back, I don't know if I trust it until I see it, because we've seen him with these concussions in the past and how it can kind of be a lingering problem. And yeah, it sucks because it's a second round pick for Achane and you're sitting him. I mean, and it's not even because he's hurt.
Right.
Yeah, this game's a tough one. Hurts. It hurts so good.
Oh, and the Patriots, I forgot to mention, top 10 rush defense so far this year. So they're a pass funnel defense, and they're losing games, getting passed on, and teams aren't even able to like blow them away on the ground to close them out. So they're a solid run defense on top of that.
True. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn, Bigz.
Okay. Well, I know what you're thinking.
You're already thinking it.
You're thinking, oh, Bigz has his little chart and he's going to look at the worst running back matchup and he's going to say, sit Breece Hall. But I'm not going to get fooled again. Every time I look at it and I see the fewest rushing yards allowed by a defense and they're going up against a top 5 running back and I say, sit that running back, the dude goes off and completely just obliterates my data sheet. So I'm not going to say sit Breece Hall, even though the Minnesota Vikings allow the fewest rushing yards per game to running backs in the entire NFL. I am going to say, don't get your hopes up about Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker having a good week this week. They're playing the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos completely shut down the passing game of everybody that they play and have allowed the fewest opponent passing yards per game in the entire NFL. Gardner Minshew is going to be throwing the ball. He's not very good. If the Raiders are going to win this game, they're going to do it on the ground. And I have zero faith in Trey Tucker or Jacoby Myers doing much. Brock Bowers is a different story, but the two main wide receivers, I don't see anything good coming from this game. Sit Raiders wide receivers.
I would wish that a Jacoby Myers game was in the cards, but yeah, you're right. It's going to be hard to rely on anybody here.
I'm also saying that so that they completely defy me and go out and score 3 touchdowns each.
Or they let Aiden O'Connell get in at halftime and then they score 3 touchdowns and all is saved in Raiderland. They make the playoffs, they make a valiant Super Bowl run, and they create a dynasty.
Rich Bisaccia ain't walking through that door.
I'm trying to jinx it.
All right. Well, I got to sit here, and that's a game that's in London. So I'm worried about, Jordan Addison, a player that you might be tempted to start after last week, despite his 23 fantasy points. Don't let those touchdowns cloud your judgment. A closer look at his performance reveals there's some concerns that is best kept him on the bench this week. He's going against that tough Jets defense and overseas in a no-fly zone reputation. That Jets defense allows the 9th fewest fantasy points per game to wide receivers, making one of the toughest matchups of the week. Garner will probably be shadowing him, or a mixture of him and Jefferson. So I'm looking for Addison to be very much kept in check this week. So he dazzled in week 4, but this low scoring game is going to be someone that I'm going to be avoiding in my fantasy lineups as much as I can.
Yeah.
Swelling in the knees, man. Long-term flights.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it, man. Oh, so, Bigz, you made me laugh tonight.
So we're doing the Broncos versus Raiders uncovered show last night, and Jamie Pirog is in the live chat, and my dog starts barking, and he goes, "Is my ex-wife over there?"
Okay.
It sounded just like her, and I thought that was funny. So shout out Jamie Pirog.
Oh, Jamie, man, guy shows up everywhere. It's a. Oh, with that, Schultzy, you can end it without even having to do anything. You just press the button.
I know the robots are trying to take my job.